All right, guys, welcome back here. I wanted to dive in a little bit to talk about why financial literacy is not enough. We all know that we didn't learn any of these things in school, right? Certainly in high school, I never learned anything. Later on in my state, they required it as part of the curriculum. In college, I didn't learn any of this either. And a lot of us are in the same boat. Nobody taught us how to do this. And our parents, maybe they taught us some things, but didn't teach us other things. And so our financial knowledge, our literacy is incomplete. So a lot of people think, hey, if we can just start teaching literacy, then, overall in our society, the economic situation will improve, right? Personal finance outcomes will improve. People will be in less debt. People will be saving more and have better habits, et cetera, et cetera. Well, there's some really interesting research around this topic and the best way to actually create behavior change within personal finance. So I've talked about some of these principles, but in this video, I just want to go over a quick study that was done that I found super fascinating. So what they did, this was done by Dr. Brad Klontz, who I've been talking about a lot in this module, or will talk about a lot. And essentially what they did is they took a group of test subjects and they divided them into two groups, okay? One group sat through a financial education session taught by somebody that was an expert. The other was put into a class about financial psychology session, and it had an expert there teaching that class. The curriculum was very designed and constructed, and they had to stay on curriculum, right? To make sure that the variables of the test would bear out in their study. So in the financial education session, they covered these 5 things: the financial planning process as defined by the CFP boards of standards, the importance of saving and statistics around the unpreparedness of American households to fund retirement and come up with funds in the event of a financial shock. 3, the time value of money and compound interest. 4, healthy savings goals and ratios commonly used in the personal finance world. And 5, various savings vehicles. So CDs or money market accounts, cash, investment accounts, etc. Okay. So really it's the nuts and bolts, right? Statistics, data, and the nuts and bolts of how to save and how much you should be saving. Okay. So I was in this group. In this other group, the financial psychology group, they covered what they had them bring an item of sentimental value. Okay. And in detail, they had them recall how and where they received their item. They had them identify the feelings and values that were attached to that item. They then had them identify their top savings goals. And number 4 is I had them identify how similar feelings and values that were linked to their sentimental item can be applied to enhance their motivation to save around their top savings goals. Okay, so essentially what they did is they used positive emotions around an item that they cared about, like a physical item, could have been a blanket or a necklace or whatever it was, positive emotions around that, and they had them link those same positive emotions to specific savings goals. Okay, so they did this. The sessions were less than an hour. They were like 30, 40 minutes, depending. So they weren't very quick. They did a pre-screening. They did one immediately after. And then 3 weeks later, they did a follow-up. Okay. And these are the results that are so interesting to me and how we can see how important financial psychology and emotion is to all of this. So and just to be clear, in the financial psychology session, they didn't talk about any of the financial basics. They didn't talk about compounding interest or savings ratios or different vehicles. They didn't give them any nuts and bolts of how to actually do it. They just helped them link emotions to clear goals, okay? Positive emotions to clear goals. And in the other one, they didn't talk about emotions or goals at all. They just talked about the nuts and bolts and data and how to do things, okay? So after 3 weeks, they did a follow-up. The group that was in the financial education session, they found that they had increased their savings rate by 22%, okay? That's actually quite a bit. That's a significant improvement after only 3 weeks. So if they were saving, 10%, all of a sudden they were saving over 12% overall, okay, of their income. Well, they did the same 3-week follow-up to the financial psychology session group, and they found that group had actually increased their savings rate by 73%, okay? That is more than 3 times higher than the other group, despite not having any actual education around financial literacy. Just by linking strong positive emotions to clear goals, they increased it by 73%. So if they were saving 10% of their income, all of a sudden they were saving over 17% of their income, okay? That is massive. So as we talk and as you think about these different exercises and different principles within this module, just remember that emotions around money have real financial impact on the outcome. It's not just like fluff or like make-believe stuff to make you feel better. The outcomes improve significantly, more than 3 times. So the whole, the way this course is structured is to help you with that and then also provide the literacy. So maybe we can end up helping you improve your savings rate by 100% or something like that. So that's the goal here, but I wanted to share that research. You can check out the actual study. I'll link it down below this video if you want to go check it out. But here's kind of the summary. I just thought that was super fascinating and very helpful as we kind of think through how important the psychology of money is. So we'll see you guys in the next video.
Money habits change when your mindset does.